In this week's parsha, the Torah speaks of Yaakov leaving his home, leaving from Beersheba, and heading to the house of Lavan. Vayeitzei Yaakov mi Beersheba vayelech Harana. In the next pasuk, the Torah says, Vayifka b'makom, vayalen sham kiva hashemesh, vayikach me'avnei hamakom, vayosem merashotav, vayishkav b'makom hahu. Yaakov encounters b'makom, the place. He sleeps there. He takes from the rocks of hamakom, the place, puts the rocks under his head, and he sleeps b'makom hahu, in the place. So the Torah, in this pasuk, 3 times has the word b'makom, and as the story continues, again we encounter that very same word b'makom, not a place, but the place. The place, or earlier in the Torah, the word hamakom, is the term that we encounter many times in the story of Akedat Yitzchak and the binding of Isaac. The Torah is saying that the story of the binding of Isaac is about Abraham at the end of his life, through all his journeys and his struggles, his experience. He finally discovers the place. In the case of his grandson Yaakov, however, Yaakov discovers the place, one might say, in the beginning of his journey. He's leaving home, and he goes to sleep in the special place. And he's not even aware, says the Torah, when he went to sleep, that it was the place. Only when he has the dream of the staircase ascending to heaven, and God appears to Jacob in his dream. Only then, when Yaakov wakes up, Yaakov says, I didn't know, Anochi lo yadati, this is the house of God and the gateway to heaven. And when Yaakov wakes up, Yaakov takes a vow, a neder. He says, if you be with me, God, and protect me, and you give me, Ushmorani baderech hazeh shanochi holech, if you guard me on my path, v'natan li lechem le'echol beged l'bosh, if you give me food, you give me clothing to wear, v'shavti b'shalom al beit avi, and I return in peace to my father's house, v'yah Hashem li le'elokim, God will be for me a God. V'ya'even azot, in this rock, because Yaakov sets up a pillar as a kind of sacrificial place, but the rock that I set up, he took the rocks under his head and he built a pillar. This rock that I put as a matzeva shall become the house of God. What Jacob is saying here, I believe, is not simply to negotiate and say, if you protect me, take care of me, feed me, you'll be my God. But if you won't, what do I need you for? You're not my God. I don't think that's the sense of what Yaakov is actually saying. I think he's saying something very different. If you bring me home in peace, if you give me the opportunity to return, then, says Yaakov, this rock, this pillar shall become Beit Elohim, the house of God. If you bring me back, says Yaakov, to Beit El, Yaakov names the place God's house. If you bring me back here, I will build a house, I will build a bayit. Unlike his father, his grandfather, Abraham could only have one covenantal successor, Isaac. Isaac has one covenantal successor, Jacob. But Yaakov promises, if you bring me back, if you allow me to return, I will build a house. I will establish a community which every member, in this case my family, all of Jacob's sons, the Torah speaks of Jacob's sons, all of my sons will be included in the covenantal community. I'll do something different, something new, if you give me the opportunity, if you allow me to return. Abraham discovered the sacred place at the end of his life. It's the moment that Abraham discovers his successor. Yaakov's challenge in life is not to find the sacred place. He finds it by accident. It's to return to the sacred place. When one returns to the sacred place, having struggled, as Jacob does, Jacob's struggles, Jacob's suffering, Jacob's education, Jacob's mistakes, Jacob correcting the mistakes, and you make it back to the same place, it's never the same place. It's a different place. Not the place where a covenantal successor is chosen, in the case of Jacob's experience. Jacob's contribution is the creation of a covenantal community, a covenantal family, every member of the family. All of Jacob's 12 sons are included in Jacob's covenantal family. Shabbat Shalom.